There we go. Sorry about the confusion, everyone. I am a retard and YouTube is confusing. Hello, everyone. This is Naked Ape. I'm coming at you live from the sandy, dusty corner of America that I live in. Hello and welcome to my channel. I'd like to start by giving a few channel updates just so I can get a couple of things off my chest, as it were. The first thing I'd like to say is that this live stream will be one of a kind. I will not be doing live streams on my main channel because it is very jarring for people to have to go through your video lists, see 5-minute videos and 10-minute videos, and then right next to it, see an hour-long live stream. And honestly, the only kind of people who could pull that shit off and not have people disjointed and confused when they see it on their channel are people like Milo Yiannopoulos, and I am not as cool as him. I'm just sorry to say, it's true. So I will be, I have opened 2 side channels. The first side channel will be called Naked Streams. The other one will be called Naked Rants. So in Naked Streams, I'll be doing live streams. Hopefully, I'll be able to interview people. I'm considering doing monthly or bi-monthly or every other month live streams just as an update to people to let them know where I am, where the channel is, and how everything is going in the world. And so we can shit talk, ask questions, maybe watch a couple videos together, relax, Netflix and chill, just that kind of thing. After that, I will be doing on my other stream, Naked Rants, I'll be doing long-form internet video essays, basically things that can't fit under 5 minutes or 10 minutes. I'll put it over there because I have a couple of ideas, a couple of things I'd like to talk about that aren't really fit for the current format that I have. I need more time, I need more space, and frankly, 5 minutes wouldn't do it justice, and there's no way that I could fit it down under 5 minutes. A couple things, like to give you an example of one thing I'd like to talk about, I'd actually like to talk about how the media manipulates the message that we're all giving. Like, there's this idea that we have that in our society, we live in this normal society, that it isn't a dystopian future or anything like that. And just generally speaking, that there isn't any manipulation happening in our minds or in the public discourse that we're having, but that's not true. It's frankly untrue to say that we haven't been manipulated or there isn't some truth manipulating happening in the current media structure that we have. And basically, I just like to explain to people what is happening and why it is happening. Another reason, by the way, that I won't be doing many of these is because I am not very good off the cuff. I always have written scripts for my videos, and I will keep doing that because I'm the kind of person that I can't really go off the cuff very well. I'm not very quippish, if you understand what I mean. You know, like when somebody insults me and I want to get an insult back, it's like an hour later, and I'm like, hey, remember that time you insulted me? And I try to remind them about it before I come back with anything. It just doesn't work very well for me. I'm not very good at it. But the other news I'd like to say, I had hinted at my video, Steve Shives and hashtag intersectional atheism, that I would be doing another video on Laughing Witch. I have to be honest with you, I'm completely uninterested in creating that video. I'm probably not going to be doing that just because, like I said, I'm just so uninterested in it. Laughing Witch, after I saw her on the stream with Sargon, where she was yelling at everybody that she's going to censor the internet. We're going to censor all of it. It's like, Jesus Christ, lady, just get a fucking job. You obviously you have a business that's running itself into the fucking ground. So maybe you should work on that a little bit and stop causing drama on the internet, you stupid old hag. It's just fucking ridiculous. And I just have no interest in interacting with her. Just in the same vein that I have really no interest in interacting with the skeptic feminists, because I made one response video and it's just, I don't want to make another one. They're not worth it. They're not worth my time. It's not interesting. It's not fun. And for me, this is just a hobby. And for the very foreseeable future, it's going to remain a hobby. Although I'm sure nobody would fault me for having dreams of grandeur, of being like Armored Skeptic or the Drunken Peasants and living off of YouTube. I mean, how fucking great would that be, right? To have your hobby be your actual job, but no, that's not going to be me for the foreseeable future because, frankly, the quality of my videos isn't up to snuff, and I just don't see it happening with my personal life right now. I don't see myself as really wanting to do that so much, if that makes sense to anybody. But now that that's out of the way, I'd like to open up. Well, the first thing I need to do is I need to answer questions that people have already asked me. I did a video some time back, around 500 subscribers, where I said that, hey, ask any question down below and I'll answer it. So I'm going to be reading off of those questions and I'm going to answer them first. After that, if I can figure out how to use the tangled mess that is Google Hangouts to figure out how I can actually I don't know how I'm supposed to interact with people over live streams. I actually haven't done this before, so I don't know how this really works. But uh, if you want to ask me a question, I think the first thing you should do, if you really wanted to get it through, is go to my Twitter. It's at Naked Ape, NAKIDAPE. Ask me any questions you want there, and I will answer them to the best of my ability. But first things first, I have to answer the questions that people have already asked on my previous video. So let's all head on down there and let's go and do that, shall we? So, reading them off at newest first. Um, People, by the way, a couple of questions that people have always fucking asked me, and seriously, stop asking me these questions. I've answered it so many times. It's so annoying. I'm sure the trolls are gonna now ask me it, but it's just okay. Two things. First one, the song that I use as my outro is "Animals as Leaders," Tooth and Claw. Go look it up. Stop asking me. The other thing is, I know about my audio levels. Uh, my earlier videos, I was using Windows Movie Maker, and I don't know if you know a lot about Windows Movie Maker, but it's basically a glorified PowerPoint presentation. It's a really shitty movie maker. After using Adobe Premiere Pro, that's the software I currently use. I understand now that Movie Maker is really shit. It's not good, and that is why all of my earlier videos have really shitty sound levels, because there is no way to check the sound levels on Windows Movie Maker. But yeah, those are the two questions that people ask me a lot, and it's just stop asking me those questions. It's just look at the description. I'll have something on my about page, and you can go read it there. The other thing, by the way, is I don't know if this happens to other YouTubers. I'm sure it does, but I'll give an answer in the description, and then they'll still ask a question in the comments about the answer that I gave in the description of the video. I don't know why people would do that. I don't know why people would ask a question first before just trying the most obvious place where that information would be. I mean, it just makes sense to me. Read the description first. If it's not there, then you go to the comments. But I don't know. I guess YouTube is just really comment happy. So that's just something that happens. It's frustrating. It's one of the frustrations that that happened to me. But yeah, one of the first questions, one of the first comments, someone says, "Fix the audio levels," and I've answered that already. Yeah. It's apparently the chat isn't enabled. Ah, fuck. I'm gonna have the same problem as the Big Milo stream. Fuck. Jesus Christ. YouTube is shit. Google just doesn't know how to run anything well. But oh well. The chat isn't enabled, so I'm sorry about that, everyone. I don't know how to do that, and really, it's something that I'm very sorry about, because I would like to be able to interact with you guys, but I guess really, if you want to ask me any questions, go to my Twitter and just send it to me there, and I'll see if I can get any there. I'll spend a couple seconds trying to figure this out. But yeah, this shit. Yeah, this is the same problem as the Big Milo stream. Well, let's not create any dead air. But yeah, I'll go back and I'll answer the questions on the video that I made titled 500 subs when I had 500. And then I'll answer any questions people send me over Twitter. And if nobody is forthcoming, then I'll just leave it there and call this. There's a reason, by the way, why this is going to be the only stream, because streams don't really look good on a channel next to 5-minute videos. So it's not something I'm going to be doing often. And like I've said to everybody, I have a different channel set up right now. It'll be called Naked Streams, and then the other one will be Naked Rants, where I will be doing live streams. And basically, I'll probably do every other month. I'll do something just to update everybody and have a little Q&A. And hopefully, when I do that, I'll be able to enable the fucking chat, and it won't be this this nightmare scenario that I'm in right now, where I don't know how to fucking use this goddamn user interface. But oh well. But yeah. What's your race and age, and what state do you live in? All of that is personal info, and I would rather not answer that. Thank you very much. It's something I really value my anonymity. My job isn't the kind of job that would care if I was some asshole on the internet, but I just don't want that kind of attention for my life right now. I kind of have a personal philosophy. If you're not willing or able to make money, enough money to live off of on your online on your online avatar, on who you are online, then you shouldn't be yourself online. You shouldn't have your real name be who you present to the internet, because on the internet, people say stupid shit and it might affect your real life. So unless your internet is your life, which I mean, so for some people it may very well be, but unless you can also make money off of it, you shouldn't do it. It's just a personal philosophy of mine. So until I'm able to entirely support myself off of the internet, which I don't see happening anytime soon for reasons stated before, I'm probably not going to. I'm not going to say any of that personal information. I guess my question is, what other topics would you consider making videos about other than the degradation of Western society? That is neo-progressivism. Okay. Well, I mean, that's basically it. I basically make videos about whatever I feel like making videos about. I have a video going on on the back burner right now, where I want to make a video responding to someone on the hashtag Everyday Feminism website who's like, hey, here's the things you need to worry about when dating a feminist. It's hilarious. And then he goes through all these things you need to worry about. It's like, wow, thank you so much. These are all the reasons why I should never date a feminist. But it's just, I make videos about whatever I want to. Like the Caesar Says No to Feminism, that video, I actually had been wanting to make that video for years because I thought it was funny. And I still do think it's funny, even though I really didn't do it very well. But I just I make videos about whatever I feel like making at the time. So it's not some. I have to be honest. There is a little bit of a symbiotic relationship. I make videos that I think are fun, and now people like my videos. So now I like to make videos about topics that people like. So I'm not going to be censoring myself and not talking about things that I would like to talk about, if that makes sense. But a part of me does find that it's funner to make videos that people like. So I'm doing my very best to work on a format, work on presentations that people find interesting, which is one of the reasons that all of the ideas that I would like to do, which would take more than 5 or 10 minutes to pull off, I'm not going to I'm not going to do on my main channel. But like something like that would be, I would talk about like the thing about how the Overton window is really the concept that I like to think about when I think about media manipulation, which is a very real concept that exists in our everyday life. The Overton window is the idea that there is a closing framework of things that you are allowed to talk about in the public sphere, and one of them is, like, as an example of something that that pertains to this, is racism. 50 years ago, it was entirely within the realm of conversation to talk about whether or not one race was objectively better than another. Now, I'm not a racist, and I don't believe that that's true. However, this is something that has closed us off to other areas of study, specifically the taxonomy of human evolution. I mean, humans didn't stop evolving, or we didn't just all become the same human beings, the same ethnicities, or even the same races at the same time with the same genetic makeups. There were people who evolved first, and then they roamed around the world for thousands and thousands of years, and then we've all picked up different adaptations, which have changed our different taxonomic, the different taxonomic understandings of where we are in relation to one another. And even though I don't believe, and I've seen evidence that shows this, by the way, which is why I don't think that it's not a moral belief that racism is wrong. For me, it is a very objective belief that racism is factually incorrect. It is factually incorrect to say that intelligence is influenced by race. It might be true that physicality, that physical strength, has some influence in race. I mean, maybe black people are just stronger because of slavery. I don't know. But I have seen evidence to show that no, intelligence, at the very most, if it does have any influence, if race has any influence on intelligence, it is less than it's less than a margin of error. So it's impossible to tell, and really, it's something that most people just believe because they want to live vicariously through the lives of the straight white man, and it's just, that's not something that I believe. But the other side of this closing of the Overton window that I'm talking about is that we can't talk about the taxonomic differences between the races. Like, there are diseases that only affect white people, well, that mostly affect white people, and that mostly affect black people. And you have to think, well, why is that? Maybe race isn't skin deep. So you see that there's a truth here. And the truth is that there are taxonomic differences between people of different races and ethnicities that we can't talk about because racism is wrong. And the reason why most people believe that racism is wrong isn't because they've looked at the studies like I have and they've come to a conclusion based off of evidence and facts. It's because there is a moral imperative to believe that racism is wrong. And that's a simple understanding of how the Overton window works, why it works, and why it's something that I'd like to discuss. And I'm sure you can see right now that that's not a 5-minute video. That's something that I'll probably be doing on my other channel. But anyway, call me a Yankee son of a bitch for assuming you're American, but which presidential candidate so far, if any, tickles your fancy the most? If I had to choose which to put in office, whom would it be? You know, I mean, I don't like Bernie Sanders, but it's not because I don't like him as an individual. It's because I don't believe that socialism works. The reason why, if anybody's wondering why, what my political identification would be, I am slightly right of center. It would really depend on what state I'm in, and I don't mean like what mental state or what state of inebriation, but you know, what geographic state I'm in. In Texas, I would probably be independent, but I might vote Republican or Democrat depending on who's there. In New York, I would be a Republican. In California, I would probably vote Trump because fuck California. But it would depend on what state I'm in, by what party I would vote for. In Nebraska, I would probably be Democrat because that's just how their politics works. The Democrats in Nebraska, from what I've seen and heard personally, they're a stand-up bunch. But me personally, I identify conservative because I don't know if anybody knows this. Capitalism is better at providing socialism than socialism. So it's like, if you really want socialism, you should be a capitalist because capitalism provides poor people with a job And that job gives them money. And on the other side of that money, by the way, it gives resources back to society, which helps better us all as a whole. So, at the very least, you have to understand that the answer to poverty, or the best answer to poverty, is to give someone a job, not a handout. And that's just my personal inclination. There are there are portions of a socialism which I think can work and are valuable. I mean, essentially, we have a communist economy when it comes to our military, and it's entirely reasonable that the military should be a command economy. But I don't like socialism, and I don't think socialism should be the answer to the problem of poverty because, frankly, capitalism is a better answer, and socialism doesn't work. But the one that I think would tickle my fancy is anybody else besides Hillary Clinton. Literally anyone. I would vote for Donald Trump or Bernie Sanders over Hillary Clinton. If I had to choose one that I might vote for, I actually like Carly Fiorina because she often talks about the concepts that I understand, how big government and big corporations actually have a symbiotic relationship with one another. Because I don't know if you understand this, Walmart and these big governments, these big corporations, they like regulations because they can take a 1% cut in their profits, right? Because they're going to make a dollar less on every shoe they sell, but because the regulations drive other people out of the market, like for every 1% cut in profits, they gain 3% of the market share. So it's just they have a vested interest in regulation. And that's one of the problems that we have. It's a very real thing to say that regulation can harm the economy when it isn't done right. I mean, yeah, there are regulations we need, but if we're honest with ourselves, a lot of the regulations we have are kind of nonsensical, and we should really have a reorganization of the way we think about them. Anyway, what are some other rock or metal groups you like? Also, did you pick Animals as Leaders music to fit the whole Naked Ape theme, or was it just because you liked the music? I actually picked the song because I liked the way it started. It just had a really abrupt start and then an abrupt a little part of the song where I could cut it off and it felt really clean. But that's why I picked that song. It was just a really good song that fit the theme. It did fit the Naked Ape theme that I'm doing, but I really did just like that song. I do like Animals as Leaders. Honestly, I'm not someone who defines themselves a lot by music, although I do have a personal hypothesis that you can understand a lot about someone by asking them, what is your favorite Pink Floyd album? If anybody wants to know, by the way, with me, it goes through cycles depending on my mood. The Division Bell, or Dark Side of the Moon, or Wish You Were Here. Those are the three Pink Floyd albums that I think are the best. But I don't know. I don't really define myself by the music I like. I just like different things. Like I like Buddy Holly. I like Skip James. I like Muddy Waters. I like Miles Davis. I just have different people that I like, and it's not I don't keep a list readily on hand. It's not something that if I'm perfectly honest, music isn't my life. So I'm not that much of a thing. I don't have that much of a thing for music. All right. What's your favorite thing to do when I'm bored? I like to go on the internet, get angry at videos that I watch, and then make response videos. I'm not kidding when I say that this is my hobby. This is something that I like doing. I legitimately like making responses to things that make me upset. I guess it's kind of a cathartic thing for me. Like getting angry feels good. It's like in the Newsroom. What's that video? I forget what the movie is called, but you've got to get mad, and it feels good. It feels good to get angry at times. Anyway, how far do you think this female supremacy will spread before the pendulum swings back again? Or are we mired in this shit for the long haul? Well, the problem with this question, if I've all heard it right, is the idea that female supremacy is somehow new. This isn't new. There has always been this, I mean, I hate to use this buzzword, but there's been this understanding of hypergamy forever. I mean, if you go back to caveman times, the gender roles that men were assigned is the hunter-gatherer. You know, men went out and they did the dangerous work. And the gender roles that women were assigned is to be a stay-at-home mother. And that position gives both of these gender roles different privileges. And one of the privileges of being a woman is that your life is inherently more valuable than that of a man. And if you have to think about it, that's entirely right if we live in a state of nature. It's completely right to do that, because if you lose half of your female population, the next generation of tribesmen is going to be cut in half at the very least. But if you lose half your men in a generation, then suddenly, you know, the other men can just work double time to keep pumping out babies. I mean, that's really how evolution works. So there's just this understanding of evolutionary psychology that I have, that this whole female supremacy, it's not new. And that's one of the things that I dislike about feminism and feminists. They like to think, oh, we're just these revolutionaries. We're changing everything. We're making things new. No, you're not. You are actually the most reactionary force there is on the face of this planet, because you are using those basic evolutionary fundamental psychological drives that we have as human to protect women in order to push this ideological narrative. So I think that on a superficial level, there is some pendulum swinging right now, but there will always be female supremacy. There will always be that hypergamy in our society. It's just always going to be there because of our psychology. Because, you know, men want to fuck women, and if we're honest with ourselves, women know that men want to fuck women, and they use that. Some of them, not all women, but I personally believe that women use that understanding oftentimes as a tool to boost their own ego. And it's something that I think that a lot of women base their egos upon. I think most people base their character and their understanding of themselves off their sexuality. I really do. I guess I'm a bit Freudian in that aspect. But if we're honest, this evolutionary psychology, this desire that we all have to have sex and to reproduce, that is a fundamental aspect of our being. So the evolutionary psychology behind hypergamy, behind female supremacy, will exist so long as men want to fuck women and so long as women want to fuck men. So it never will entirely go away. I'm sorry. My question is, do you spend any time on Poll? For those of you who don't know, /Poll is the shorthand version of Politically Incorrect, which is a board on the larger image board, 4chan or 8chan, depending on if you're a new fag or not. If you are a stupid cuckold, you will go to 4chan. But if you're an enlightened individual, you'll go to 8chan. But Poll, I used to go on it a lot because I liked to shitpost, because if nobody knows this, there's a lot of people who go on there, they'll talk about neo-Nazis, they'll talk about, you know, they'll start flame wars, and honestly, I like arguing with people on the internet. It's fun. Like I said before, it's fun to get angry for me. I don't know why. I guess it's a personality defect. So I used to like going on Poll and shitpost about, you nigger spicks, you stupid Nazi shit, you storm cuck. It's just, you know, I would throw insults around at people and just have a fun time. Then on 8chan, Poll started degrading into a point where it's just basically entirely run by Nazis. And I have no interest in actually talking with real Nazis, because I'm not a neo-Nazi. I don't like white nationalism, and I don't like people who will legitimately say that that genocide is a justifiable thing, or that equal rights, or the equal rights for any one group of people is not a justifiable thing. It's just something that I don't like. So I don't really go on Poll anymore because it's been ruined. But yeah, I used to. Anyway, this fucking guy. What are your opinions on postmodernist thinking? This question is by Meat Machine, and you are an asshole because you knew this would piss me off. So there was a video I saw recently that had George Soros, literally George Soros, telling us the fundamental aspects of postmodernism. And the way he described it was generally like this. He's describing it within the context of a closed versus an open society, right? So he says, nobody can know, I should say this is paraphrasing first, nobody can know what is absolutely true because the world is really complicated. This, by the way, is the fundamental understanding of postmodernism. It says that the world is really complicated. It's really complicated. So that means that we cannot know what is objectively true, which, by the way, is entirely bullshit. Fuck that. I can know for certain that gravity exists because every time I try to get out of bed, it takes effort. I mean, more effort for some people than others. I mean, more effort for me, but it takes effort. So that means that gravity exists. I can know that objectively. Go fuck yourself. But they say that you can't know what is objectively true. So what he says, what George Soros said, is that what this means is that the power structures in society that were based on an understanding of objective truth are weakened, and it turns a closed society into an open society. Now just read between the lines there, all right? Societies used to be, in his mind, quote-unquote closed, which he thought means that they're based on an understanding of objective truth. Now, if your societies aren't based on objective truth or any measurement of objective truth, what are they based on? Nothing. They're not based on a goddamn thing, which means it does give him the power to basically say, him specifically, he puts it in this, pseudo-intellectual, leftist, progressive spin on it, that it's about creating democracy and, all this other stuff. But no, it's about giving people the power to surreptitiously impose their own subjective understanding of the world on people. Because if you can't say that something is objectively true or objectively wrong, then the only people who will be able to say that are people who have emotional beliefs. So at the core of it, postmodernism changes the conversation from where it should be, what is true, to this new conversation about what is morally acceptable. Now just think about that for a moment. If your idea of truth is based off of what is morally acceptable, and you believe that anything could be morally acceptable, then, well, you have to think, who tells you what is morally acceptable? So out of the one side of his mouth, George Soros is saying, nothing is objectively true. Nothing is right. We need to open our society. And at the other side of his fucking skeevy little mouth, he's saying, and I'm going to tell you what is really true. And you can't argue against it with facts because objectivity is wrong. That is the fundamental basis of postmodernism. And that is why postmodernism is the fucking cancer that is killing the West. Because it takes us away from where conversations should be about an objective understanding of rational truth to just who can make the largest pissing contest of emotional manipulation. And if you actually look at it, the next logical step of that is, because we can't understand objective truth, all we can understand is our subjective understanding of truth. So your perspective, your privilege is more important than the truth you're actually trying to talk about. This is where books have come out. If you saw the video of Richard Dawkins reading some postmodernist bullshit, where somebody literally was writing, the reason why scientists don't understand fluid dynamics is because most of them are men. And men have penises and not periods. They don't have to interact with the fluids between their legs. That was literally an argument someone had. And that is directly because postmodernism privileges an understanding of subjectivity over objectivity. It is the cancer killing the West. Fuck postmodernism, and fuck you, Meat Machine. You knew that question would piss me off. Anyway, are you attending college, and what do you think of college in general? I was attending college, and college is a waste of time unless you're going for a STEM degree. If you aren't going for a STEM degree, get the fuck out. Seriously. I wasn't going for a STEM degree. I was trying to do law, But law is it's a 7-year course, and I couldn't stand college for 7 years because I had to pay rent, and my parents don't love me enough to help me out with rent, so I had to get a job, and that's where I was. But for most people, college really isn't right for a lot of people. Most people should go to a technical school and be a welder or be a plumber or something like that. In fact, you'll probably make more money as a plumber or an electrician or a welder than you will if you get a fucking degree in sociology or gender studies and work at Starbucks. So consider highly not getting a liberal arts degree and going into a technical school instead. Let me see if I can find any other questions. All right, my question to you is, would you consider making some videos where you have debates with crazy feminists where you can destroy them with stats and sources of evidence? I've considered it, but I'm not sure how many feminists would be willing to come on my channel. I mean, one of the problems that we have with Kevin fucking Logan, is that the only thing that gives him any amount of credibility is the fact that he's willing to talk to people. And that's special among feminists. And that suddenly gives this potato-faced fucking dumbass some kind of credibility. No, he's still a fucking idiot, and nobody should be listening to his views. So it's like, I have to weigh the pros and cons. I'm giving this asshole legitimacy, and on the other side, I might be able to get a couple of ponage moments out of it. I don't know. Maybe. It would depend on who I'm inviting and whether or not I have any legitimate interest in talking to them. What was your stance on Gamergate when it first blew up, and what are your views on it today? My views actually have changed. When Gamergate was first, the conspiracy theory, I had no fucking interest in it. It was just useless, worthless drama that I didn't fucking care. But then when the Gamers Are Dead articles came out, it's like, holy shit, what the fuck are they doing? They have no idea what they're talking about, and they're trying to attack something. I mean, I'm a casual gamer. I'm a filthy casual, but, you know, gaming is something that is in my life. It's something that has an incredible value to me. And effectively, they were saying, well, this thing that has value to you is worthless. And that hurt my feelings. I'd have to say, on a fundamental level, they said that my identity, that a part of my identity, a part of my understanding was wrong. And I didn't like that, so I got really upset at it. And I understood that this is just bullshit, that the only reason why they are attacking gamers is because gaming is the only entertainment media that exists anywhere in the world where men are the primary consumers. Just think about that for a moment. Every single other entertainment media has, at the very least, about 50-50 split, right? You talk about smartphones, nobody goes on and says, hey, smartphones are sexist. Angry Birds. Angry Birds causes anger. That makes people angry. Or fucking Flappy Bird. I mean, the only reason why they would say that is because someone literally killed someone over Flappy Bird. But, you know, even though that somebody legitimately did kill someone over Flappy Bird, nobody goes on and say, hey, we need to protect people from the misogyny and the anger of smartphones, because half of the people who use smartphones are women. And we have this thing in society where we don't criticize women because they're perfect human creatures. They never do anything wrong. But it's just carte blanche, just men are scum, and we need to attack every single thing they like. And literally speaking, video games are the only entertainment media where men are the primary consumers. And that pissed me off. But today, basically, Gamergate has kind of fallen back into that, like, useless drama. Like, all the shit with John Kelly and Allison Prime and all these other fucking people that I don't care about them. I don't even fucking care about them at all. It's like, I would rather be talking about Fallout 4 and how fun it is, but at the same time about how shitty it is that they entirely nerfed any RPG elements. I mean, I have to say Fallout 4 is a fun game, but they destroyed any RPG elements to it. And that's something that I would rather talk about, because I think that that's something that was really nefarious on the part of Tom Howard. Is that his name? I forget his name. But on Bethesda is that they spun it as an RPG game and it is an RPG genre, but it really isn't. It isn't anymore. It might as well be a Call of Duty Black Ops Apocalypse Boogaloo Electric Slide version 2. It's not a role-playing game anymore. It's still fun, but oh well. Is there anything feminists can say or do that will actually make mainstream media criticize them? Not from the left. This is something that the Overton window has closed on. You can't criticize women anymore. I mean, as a whole, just think about this. Women do really shitty things. And women, as a whole, do these shitty things because society allows women to do these shitty things. I mean, it's true about men too. There are shitty men, but the things that men do that are really terrible are usually against the law. But paternity fraud, that's fine. In fact, the government endorses paternity fraud because the government makes money off of alimony. So there is something in the Overton window closing that has said you cannot criticize women. But there is just a hint, just a glimmer of hope. Because if you see the stories of all the shit that's happening on universities, people have a fundamental understanding that this is bullshit. That black fucker, that stupid piece of shit on Mizzou, whose family has a net worth of $20 fucking million, who has the fucking gall to talk about white privilege, nigger, you have more fucking white privilege than I do. You have $20 million fucking dollars worth of white privilege. I wish I had that much white privilege, you fucking idiot. So yeah, there is an understanding that yes, there are things that these fucking assholes can do to get people to be pissed off at them. And that's one of them, because it is so blatantly clear that feminism on college campuses has distorted the conversation and made it just this ridiculous circus, and it isn't about what it should be about, actually learning and trying to interact with reality so you can get a job. It's just, they've distorted it so much. So there are some things that they can do, but we will always have this problem in our society that we aren't allowed to talk about the bad things that women do and the bad things that feminists does, because of the same reason why we can't talk about taxonomic differences between races, like the fact that, you know, there are diseases that affect white people and diseases that affect black people in as a majority. We can't talk about the racial differences between that because that's racist. We can't talk about the bad things that women do because that's sexist. So yes and no. Do you think the growing support of feminism worldwide is scary or worrying? Why do you think feminists find everything sexist up to the Apple's new software debut? Feminism is actually falling in support. So I wouldn't say that the growing support of feminism is scary because they've actually been falling in support. What is scary is how far leftist media are willing to double down on this bullshit. Just think, every time you hear 1 in 5 women will be raped, or women make 77 cents on the dollar, you are being lied to. And at this point, you have to think, either you are some stupid, ignorant motherfucker, which I don't know, maybe President Obama is because he's repeated these things, or you are being lied to with the sole purpose of them using these moral justifications to increase the government's power so that they can have more control over you. That might just be what's happening. It's just, what's worrying about me is how much the leftism is willing to use these moral tools this soapbox feminism has created, even though it has been debunked so many times, to browbeat other people into submission. That worries me. And why do I think feminists find everything sexist? Because they come from a postmodernist understanding of a reality where feels before reals and subjectivity is more important than objectivity. That's just why. Have I had any unexpected confrontations with family, friends, coworkers because of my anti-feminist views? I had one when I was in university. We were talking about feminism, and basically I said, well, if feminism would stop saying that women aren't allowed in tech, that women aren't allowed in male-dominated fields, maybe the stigma against women joining these fields would make women want to join them. And then, you know, my feminist professor was like, oh yeah, that'll stop the wage gap. That'll stop all of these bad things happening to women. And I said very clearly, well, yeah, it might make women work as much as men. And I failed that class, but to her, I mean, she was, I skipped a lot of those classes. So it wasn't entirely because she was a feminist that I failed that class. It was probably my fault. But still, yeah, that was a funny moment. And that's really the only time where I've ever expressed it in a way that was, that wasn't any public setting. All right. Why have you got such an obsession with apes? Naked ape actually is a phrase used that describes my understanding of evolutionary psychology. I really believe that we basically are just apes who have evolved to a point where we have opposable thumbs, and you know, instead of beating the shit out of each other every day, we're creating houses. We're just naked apes. We're a hairless monkey that has a really, really great time with grabbing stuff. That's it. I mean, there's nothing special about human beings other than that. I mean, we are moral agents. We are very intelligent, but we haven't stopped evolving, and evolution still has that power over us. That's why I chose the name Naked Ape, by the way, because of my agreement with evolutionary psychology. So next question is, why did I start? My first video was teasing Laughing Witch because of the stupid video she made accusing Sargon of Akkad being a neo-Nazi. I just thought it was hilarious, so I decided to make a mocking video of it. It was a shit video. I used it wasn't that funny. It made me laugh like really hard when I watched it the first couple times, but looking back at it, it's so cringeworthy. But I'm gonna keep it up because, you know, even though it's a cringeworthy piece of shit, it's my first video. But yeah, that's why I started. What is the story behind the name? I've explained that already. Naked Ape is basically my understanding of evolutionary psychology reduced to a phrase. Also, what are my favorite YouTubers? I have to say right now, it's Teal Deer. I really fucking love his content. I mean, he does long videos, and the thing I don't like about Sargon is he has long videos, but a lot of his videos really lack a sort of intellectual content. His is basically like, hey, look at this stupid shit. It's low-hanging fruit. Let's laugh at this low-hanging fruit. And it's like, that has a value to it, but it's only so good for so long. Teal Deer will eviscerate an argument from start to beginning using all facts and evidence to show exactly why you're an idiot and how you're an idiot and why you should be ashamed of yourself for being an idiot. And I fucking love it. So I'd say the Teal Deer right now is my favorite. How the hell did you start so recently but got about 100 subs in a day? I don't know. People like my shtick. So what's with the ape think? Do you think you just sound like one of them, or do you just love the series like me? A lot of it is branding. Like, you know, you have to pick a brand. Like Sargon of Akkad has Sargon of Akkad. Teal Deer has Teal Deer. And I thought Naked Ape is a really good branding mechanism for how I wanted to present myself to the world. Also, like I said, it really expresses my my understanding of evolutionary psychology. So what hobbies do I have? I'm a casual gamer. I'm a filthy casual gamer. I read and I argue on the internet. I don't have a lot of expensive hobbies anymore. I used to like do scuba diving in university. That was really fun, but that's expensive. And I used to do rock climbing, but I got fat and it's also expensive. So it's just, I play video games and I jack off. Those are my hobbies. My favorite film, right now I think it would have to be The Network. I've watched it a couple times, and The Network, I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. I mean, The Network is the one with the You've Got to Get Mad. Yeah, that's it. Network. It's the one in 1976. But yeah, it really showcases what happened to media and why media is so shit now. So that's my favorite film. My favorite book, I'm actually reading the book not Metamorphosis, but memetics. It's I can't remember the author of it, but it's basically it's basically about the history of Western civilization and about the ideas that have been written in all of the different novels, like Homer, the Iliad, all of these ancient novels, right up to Virginia Woolf, and how these ideas have progressed throughout history. What started you down this road of looking at the toxic, misandrist climate of today? I would say it was specifically what made me understand this bullshit is there was this news article where some stupid feminist bitch went to the International Leatherman competition, which is a mainly gay competition where men wearing like leather chaps and handlebar mustaches fuck each other in the ass. That's like the entire purpose of this competition. But she decided that it was misogynist that she was asked to leave a room, a private room, where these gay men were having an orgy. What the fuck is wrong with you that you are so entitled of a person that you think you are entitled to be in this room? That you are entitled to be a part of a gay man's sex life? And then I was like, holy shit, feminists are assholes. I'm so upset at it. That's what started me. Literally speaking, that news article is what started me understanding that feminism is bullshit. So my question is, for anyone looking to make their own channel, what advice would I give them? Also, have you found making videos against feminism rewarding or a difficult task? You know, it's really a rewarding task. I love making these videos. I love interacting with people. It's really great. So the one advice I'm going to give you is find something that you're interested in and just keep making videos about it. I will never make videos about video games because I am a filthy casual, and making videos about video games sounds like the most boring thing in the world to me. I just wouldn't like it. But yeah, that's what you do. You just find something you're interested in, keep making videos, and just keep improving the quality. That's what I've done. So here's a serious one. Have you ever had a rather good friend for years who moved from a country where there is actual oppression against women to a feminist country like the USA or Britain, become feminist, and totally deteriorate into a total bitch to the point where you can no longer stand them? No, I've never had that happen. I guess I just don't make friends outside of the United States because America. I don't know. I've never had that happen to me. Let me see if there's any more questions. What non-feminist? Yeah, no, that's not a question. That's a question to somebody else. All right. How old am I? I'm in my early 20s. And that's all of the questions from that video. So very briefly, I'm going to look at my notifications and see if there are any questions there. So, all right. Wow, this looks like a lot. Unlimited bagel bites on Tuesdays for life, or unlimited pizza rolls on Thursdays for life. Bagel bites on Tuesdays. Tuesdays are my day off from work, so yeah. Do I think Anglo-Americans are more delusional about media manipulation? No, I don't. I actually don't have any information about how people's delusions with media stack up to their race. It's entirely possible that the white man in America is more delusional about media manipulation, but I have no idea. Would it be possible to have this window open at the same time? Yes, it would, and I didn't actually see that, so yeah. Sorry about not having the chat up, guys. It's just something that I'm new to this streaming shit, so I didn't know how to do it. So Langus wants to talk to me about how misguided are about capitalism. Yeah, I'm sure you'd like to convert me to your socialist religion too, but I have a job, so no thank you. How does it feel to be a misogynistic shitlord? It feels great. Wonderful. I love my privilege. Blow your nose and please reply to Twitter. It's 0.42 set. Yeah, whatever. Stop bashing the left over feminism. We communists have nothing to do with them. You can keep them. I'm sorry to say this, but feminism is explicitly leftist. It is entirely leftist because communism and feminism and socialism, by the way, all come from this same value statement. And the value statement is about equality. Communism comes when you value economic equality over meritocracy, which is why communism is bullshit. Because communism makes it impossible for someone who has the merit to be a CEO to be a CEO. And people who have a good merit, they have good skills, should be able to be rewarded for those skills so that other people with good skills can get more power to do those skills. It's like if you're really good at making computers, you should have $1 million so you can make the best computer out there. You shouldn't give $1 million to some schmuck on the street just because he's some schmuck on the street. That's how meritocracy works. What would I do if I won the lottery? I would invest it and buy a house. I myself am left libertarian. What do you think about leftists that are fighting against feminism and the corrupt media? So the thing is that I am a conservative. I'm slightly on the right, but I have this fundamental understanding that there is a conversation that should be happening between the left and the right. It's a conversation that is important to have. And the left has this value statement that says that we as leftists believe that a rich society should provide for the welfare of the poorest among us. And that's not a bad value statement, you know. That's an okay thing to say. You know, and it's like, you know, the Spider-Man understanding of power. With great power comes great responsibility. If you have a lot of money, then you should use it. Another analogy is if you step over a homeless man who has been stabbed and you don't call a hospital, you are consenting through inaction to that homeless person dying. So yes, we have a responsibility towards the lowest among us. But on the right, there's this conversation we're having. As a sovereign nation, we have a duty to provide for the prosperity of the next generation. And what I believe and why I'm a conservative is that the secondary effects of capitalism and the secondary effects of providing for the benefit of the next generation, of being selfish, by the way, or of individualism, which are all conservative ideas, the secondary effects of those is that poor people will no longer be poor. I mean, there will always be poor people in a capitalist system, which is why some safety net is important. But there's a conversation because the two of these are fairly mutually exclusive in some parts, and we should have come to a compromise. So that is what I think about the left versus the right dichotomy in general. And I think that leftism, there is some value in having a conversation with its ideas. And we should have that conversation. But like I said before, the unfortunate thing is that leftism does value equality over meritocracy, and that's where my disdain for the left comes from. So, do I find Rachel Repeat attractive? I'm gay and I have a half-black boyfriend, so I'd have to say no. Have I lost friends, idiots, because of my views, specifically through social media? And how do I handle that? No, I haven't. I haven't lost any friends. I don't really talk about it that much, if I'm perfectly honest. So, yeah, it's not something, I don't define myself or my personality by my sexuality or by my political beliefs. So, whatever. Are you really misogynistic? Have you any interest in a relationship, platonic or romantic, with women? No, I'm not really misogynistic. That was a joke. And you really should, you work on your, you really need to work on your sarcasm detectors. But do I have any interest in a relationship with women? Well, I'm gay. And I don't know. I just don't understand. I don't really understand women. I guess I just don't really get along with them. A lot of the problems I face, really, I think, is that there's a stigma that I have personally against women because women always say, oh, you're gay. That means we can be gay best friends forever. And it's like now I'm suddenly a handbag for them. And it's like they want to live vicariously through my sex life and they don't view me as a full human being, and it's not a female thing. Like all women do this, but enough women have done this to me to make me wary about women who want to be my friends. It's like women in our culture use gay men as tools to basically prop up their egos. So it's something that gets me a little wary of women in general, if I'm honest. But not all women and not all men. So whatever. I have one last comment, and it's just basically the same guy who wanted to talk to me about communism. That I missed the point of communism, but yeah, communism doesn't have a point. I mean, I have a legitimate respect for Marxists. I'm not going to say that I don't, because Marxists are logically consistent, right? Like feminists have double standards all fucking over the place, and they disgust me. They legitimately disgust me because people who are idiots people who are idiots piss me off. It just does. So Marxists are wrong, but they aren't logically inconsistent, and they aren't idiots. So I do have some respect for people who are Marxist, and it's perfectly fine for me to talk with them, and I can have that conversation. But it's just, communism is wrong because it values equality over meritocracy. That's my perspective on it, and that's my opinion. And what's my favorite gay political debater or speaker? You're really asking a bad question, because now I have to choose between Milo Yiannopoulos and everyone else. And if Milo ever hears this, it'll probably destroy him, because he has a very fragile ego, if you've ever noticed that. Very fragile. In fact, his ego is almost non-existent. He's like a wafting flower in the wind. He cannot stand without constant support. But no, I'd actually have to say Douglas Murray isn't his name. But yeah, it would probably be Murray. I really like him. There are so many gay conservatives in Britain that it's just honestly, I think that the only people who are allowed to be conservatives anymore in Britain are gay people, because they can hide under the shields of their gayness. It's ridiculous when Milo says that he has to go on to fight feminists because his gayness is a shield. He's fucking serious. It really is. It's ridiculous how much the left has fallen to just these character assassinations. I mean, character assassination is basically the only tool that the left has left. Or I should say that the far left has left. And the unfortunate thing is that most people on the left are moving farther left because of the people who are scaring away moderates. And it's just the only people who are allowed to be conservative anymore are gay. And I'm gay, I'm a conservative, so I fit the bill. But yeah. All right. I think that is it as far as questions go. I'll leave it at that. Thank you everyone for watching. One last thing before I leave. I'd like to let everyone know that I'll probably be going on a brief hiatus, a week or two, not very long, but I'll be back in the beginning of December. But I probably won't be making a video for this week or next week. I just have life stuff that I got to get a hold of. And the winter season is a busy season for me at work. So generally speaking, for the next month or so, it's going to be busy for me, and I'm not going to have time to do a lot of things on my YouTube channel. But yeah, thank you everyone for coming. Thank you for asking questions, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. Sorry about everything being kind of fucked up with me not understanding how to use Google Hangouts, but hopefully I will learn how to do it, and it will be better in the future. One last thing for people who didn't hear earlier, I have two other channels that I've set up. One is called Naked Rants, and the other one is called Naked Streams. And I will be doing streams on Naked Streams, obviously, and I will be doing long form video essays on Naked Rants. So if you'd like to see more of me, if you'd like to see monthly or every other month streams that will update my content and update my channel, subscribe to me on Naked Streams. Like, share, and subscribe. Check my Patreon. Add me on Twitter. Talk to you guys later. Have a nice time.